Welcome SSC 100 students. This is my week 8 commentary as we have now passed the halfway point in our semester. This week we are going to clarify the distinction between data sciences, information sciences, and social sciences. Take your time in doing this, as these are difficult concepts to wrap one's head around. But I think investing a small amount of time in this week's resources will allow you to gain clarity on what is important to understand if one is to think about the future of the social sciences themselves. In terms of housekeeping this week, meaning course management, let me say first of all thanks to those of you who did attend this past weekend's halfway point workshop. I thought the conversations there were really exceptional, and I think they were valuable to those of you who were able to attend. So I've posted the request for your plans for workshop 13. I'm sorry, workshop 3, which is required. And don't be fooled, because although it's in December at the end of the semester, now is the time when we need to begin making sure it's on our calendars. And for those who cannot attend on December 2nd or 3rd, making sure that alternative peer groups are organized. So let me say at the outset that a peer group has to have at least 4 peers. And I strongly recommend it be 5 or 6 in the event that someone is a no-show. More on that either if you give me a call or if you ask, I'll be happy to do a video on that. See also the assignment description in the assignment folder for workshop number 3. The details of the workshop are in the modules area, and of course the details of the assignment itself are in the assignment area. Okay, those are the housekeeping things. One other housekeeping things. Test number 1 is now history. I'm pleased to say that 32 students completed it. Highest grade in the class was a 98. The median score in the test was 84, actually 83.5, which is a good showing for this group. So thank you for the work that you put in on those, and if you have any questions about how the 2 parts of the test were used to derive your test grade, I'd be more than happy to go over your work and comment on that, clarify it if need be. This week in Lucre, you'll be working through Chapter 9, and as well students should begin, if you haven't already, posting content to your e-portfolios. I strongly recommend that you begin with an introduction, a 5-year plan. All of the sequence is yours to decide. As far as what to put in your portfolio, see the assignment description where there's a list of required and optional elements, and also check out the work of some of your peers. We have some nice portfolios developing this semester. Okay, one more for those of you who are unable to come to the workshop, one more housekeeping thing. You should be thinking now about your course project. This is a small research paper that will be put in your portfolio together with the 2 major essays, one on the scope and history that you've already drafted, and the other on the lens of science, which we'll be looking at this week and next. So that's the housekeeping pieces, and again, please call me rather than trying to sort out the road ahead by yourself. I can help, and it'll be a much easier journey for you, as evidenced by the students who I think had a very productive mid-semester workshop. Let me turn to this week's image, which is right here on my left. This is from a very interesting blog about information sciences. So remember, the goal is to clarify what are information sciences, what are data sciences, and how do they relate to social sciences. That's the core question. This image here asks us to think about and become clear about the distinction between data, information, and knowledge. It's quite important, really, to know the difference if one is to want to do social science research and, more importantly, communicate clearly in this age of info glut, as we've been reading about in our course text. With respect to materials not in the course text, I've put 3 supplemental resources for you in this week's folder. I've asked you to look briefly at the Wikipedia review of what is data science. And that's daunting, but you need not read through all the minutiae and details, but rather try and get a fundamental understanding of how data sciences are different than social sciences and are different than information sciences themselves. That's the first supplemental. The second is a YouTube video that is very concise, but it's dense. And it's basically an overview on information science. And again, don't be intimidated by the density of the materials, but rather go for the conceptual understanding of data sciences versus information sciences and social sciences. Finally, I've put in this week's folder a article from psychologicalscience.org on robots for research, because if we're to contemplate the future of the social sciences, clearly we must begin to deal with our understanding not only of artificial intelligence, but the possibility that robots are going to play an important role, as they actually already do, in our work as social scientists. So those are the 3 supplementals for this week. I hope your semester's going well. I think probably I spoke with a total of perhaps 10 or so of the 30 students in the course. So most of you were unable to make it, and that's fine. It was optional. But I don't want you to get lost or overly stressed for lack of clear answers to whatever questions you have. So give me a call if you think a consultation might be helpful. Thanks for your attention. And next week will be our final week, looking at these major boundary issues as we ask ourselves, what is science literacy? More about that later.